I so badly wanted to look nice for this video, but my daughter smashed her lunch into me literally right before she was put down for a nap. I put her down and then I forgot to grab her shirt. So I don't even know how to start this video, to be honest with you. I basically just got so angry and frustrated from reading book after book after book and feeling like we have lost the plot. Just as readers, as writers, as publishers, as editors, just everybody in general. I don't know who made this snowball effect happen, but somehow this happened, and now we have these mediocre stories being told, and it's just so devastating and frustrating. And I don't want to bring up specific books and be like, this is terrible literature, because I do think that sometimes books are not written for certain people. But at the same time, I think collectively we can agree that literature from a long time ago has significantly changed from literature that is being published today. And I'm not even talking about the smut that is in books. I'm not talking about the glorification of toxic romances. I'm not going to even touch those topics because I feel like that is an entire video all on itself. I do want this to be a very open conversation on literature. I don't want this to be very one-sided. I understand that it is kind of one-sided because I'm going to have to read your responses. I'm not going to be able to respond right away. I will have to wait until this video is edited and then posted, and then somebody watches it and then somebody comments on it. Like, I'm going to have to do a lot of waiting on my end. I've read 21 books. And my average rating is 2.5 stars. 21 books in 2026 and the average rating is 2.5 stars. I just feel like, what's going on? Like, am I just reading not great books? I'm just very confused as to why that is. I've met so many people. I think it's a very large trend on BookTube even for people to do these videos where it's like, this video doesn't end until I hit a 5-star book. And there's some that last for months. There's some of those videos that are like, started filming this 5 months ago, couldn't find a 5-star for 5 months. I'm just very confused as to what's happening in our books and why this is happening. I think there's a lot to be talking about in this subject. So a lot of this is not going to be very deeply, because I don't want this to be like an hour-long thing. I only have like maybe 45 minutes tops to film. I don't want this to be too long, but just close your eyes for 1 second. Just entertain me. Close your eyes. You go into a bookstore or a library or wherever you are. You go into a building where there's a lot of books. Go find the thriller section, okay? Are you there? You're at the thriller section? Okay. Do you see the dark colors of a book? Potentially, there is one object, a noun. It could be a train, a chair, a door, some object though. And it's just one singular one. And that's it. That's the whole cover. And then you have the title. It's very large. And then the author, very small. Now go over to the fantasy section. You're in the fantasy section. Okay, great. I'm there with you. I'm there with you. And you're looking for a book in the fantasy section. And again, it's got a lot of black in there, a lot of dark colors, a lot of monochrome. And it probably has a picture, again, of one singular object. Could be a castle, could be a dragon. Maybe there's no picture at all. Maybe it's just like dark colors meshed together with the big title in the middle. You see that book? Great. I bet you've just named like 20 different books. Go over to romance. Okay, we're going to the romance section. We're looking at the romance section. We just want a nice romantic book. Romantic. Should we get the book with the cartoon characters on it, or should we get the book with primary colors and flowers on it? All right, let's go over to literary fiction. Should we get the one with tie-dye or the one with tie-dye and Canva art? Like, okay, open your eyes. I bet you you were able to list numerous books that all look like that. They all look like that. Why is it that you can go into a genre and every book looks the same? They all look the same. It's just so frustrating to me that that's the case today. And it makes me sad because back in the day, you had artists, actual book artists, who would depict your work of art for your cover, and they would create this incredible thing. I mean, how many covers have you seen with just feet in the air? I'm sorry, like, it's so generic and it's so boring. That kind of has started this journey of every book is the same. We have the same plot in these books. We have the same characters in these books. We have the same tropes in these books. We have the same trigger warnings in these books. I don't know. Maybe not everybody feels this way. Maybe you are like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I always read a different book. It's always like a completely different story, very original. I really like the plot. Like, if that's the case, please list those books down below. I'd be interested. But if they're published before 2020, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Find me a book published after 2020. I guess my question is, are publishers prioritizing the quality of a finished book, or are they just repeating what they know is going to sell? I don't have any friends in the publishing industry, so I don't know if I can answer that question. If anybody does have friends in the publishing industry, please let me know. Like, are they just in it for the money at this point? I get that. You gotta feed your kids. You gotta, whatever, pay the bills. But I don't know, like, what else is there that you could, like, how do I say this? Are publishers afraid of taking a risk? I feel like that's a great question. Are you afraid of taking a risk? Because there's a lot of books out there pre-2020 that were absolutely a risk and did very well. So are we not doing that anymore? Did we collectively decide not to do that anymore? And whose problem is that? Whose fault is that? Is that the reader's fault because we are willing to buy the same story over and over again? I mean, people always make fun of movies and it's like, oh, another remake. Oh, another remake. There's nothing original anymore. It's the same thing with books at this point, though. Like, everything's a retelling. Oh, it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Oh, it's a retelling of Cinderella. Oh, it's a retelling of Snow White. Can we not think of anything else? Or did we just decide this will sell? So let's continue to do this. I think another problem that I have with literature is that readers are reading these books, and I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if this is TikTok. I don't know if this is just the collectiveness. People got together and decided, like, oh, we can't have that anymore in books. But we no longer have a true villain. We have a sympathetic villain. We have somebody that we can understand, somebody that we understand why they did this. Oh, it's evil, but, like, you don't get it. Like, their backstory is just so tragic. We don't have villains anymore. And instead, you have to have, like, bad qualities, right? But now we've transferred them to the female main character, and she's just this toxic man. I've read books where all I could think of was, if this was a male character, the way she would have been arrested, the way she would have been crucified, like, it's pretty bad. You've got female main characters that are basically forcing men, like the male love interest, into their bedroom, doing whatever they can, being super manipulative. And it's just like, if this was a guy, everybody would be upset. Every single person would be upset. Another thing that I find is that we don't have strong female leads. We have masculine, strong female leads. And I understand that physicality, being strong, physical, is seen by many men to be the only reason that you can be a strong man. Like, when men are like, yes, he's a strong man, they mean quite literally, he is strong. He can lift heavy weights and all of that good stuff. Maybe he can run really far. But as women, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to be canceled before I've even subscribed. Okay, I'm going to say it anyways. As women, biologically, we are not nearly as strong as the average man. Okay, the average female is not as strong as the average man. That is not to say if you are somebody who trains regularly, you can probably beat up a percentage of men. Maybe not other men who also train, but what I'm trying to get to is when you read a fantasy book and you've got these men who have been training nearly their entire lives, and then you've got this, the author is describing this female as weak, fragile, has never lifted anything in her life heavier than a fork. Her hobbies are being unique and different and knowing her alphabet. Like, if you have a female character who physically is weak, does not work out, does not run, and then she goes and trains with this other man who has been working out their whole life. They were out of the womb having 2-pound weights in their hand. I mean, you cannot tell me that after an hour of training, she's besting him. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. And I would much rather play to a woman's strength. Like, why did we decide that femininity was weak? When did that happen? When did we decide that you can't be feminine, you have to be masculine in order to be strong, in order to be considered strong? For instance, women in this world, women can give birth. We can quite literally bring life into this world. Yes, a man does help for about 5 minutes of that time, but as women, we take, I mean, depending on who you're talking to, most people say 9 months. It's actually 10 months because they count it from your last period, but we take 10 months to form this child. Okay, we build everything from scratch. Everything is from scratch. We're not like buying Legos and putting them together. We are building the Lego itself. We are doing everything from scratch, and it's beautiful. It's incredible. It is the most amazing thing that a woman could ever do. I'm not saying that you are not a woman if you can't have kids. Stop trying to twist my words. But it is something that's so unique and so womanly and so feminine. And then we give birth. And that is something, I mean, if you've ever watched somebody deliver a child, if you yourself have delivered a child, it's so metal. Like, it's so incredible. That's femininity. That's what it's like to be a woman. And so I just feel as though if you have a fantasy novel and you're trying to write a strong female lead, why aren't women naturally better at magic? Like, why wouldn't we? Of course we would be better at magic. That just fundamentally makes more sense because of course we have a closer connection to the spiritual world. And if magic is spiritual, that's how most fantasies write magic, is that it's spiritual. So if magic is spiritual, you're looking inside, deep inside, you're focusing, you're breathing, you're meditating. Well, who's better at that than women? We create life. Why wouldn't we be closer to the spiritual realm? Why wouldn't we be better at magic? That just fundamentally makes more sense. And I don't understand why we are taking away from the feminine and deciding, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you don't agree, maybe you're like, hey, I don't think that we're deciding that women have to be masculine. Okay, I'd love to have that conversation with you. I'd love for you to show me where it's okay. You know, everybody makes fun of the one character, and I know if I say her name, everybody's gonna be like, yeah. There's one character in the fantasy realm. People are always like, why did you grow flowers? Why'd you have your character grow flowers? Why not grow vegetables and help the family? Flowers are very feminine. They're super feminine. Now, yes, I think logistically she could have thrown in a carrot or two, but everybody thinks that she is such a weak character because she's not physically strong. But this character is femininely strong. Why do we hate women so much that we don't want them to be feminine at all. I think it's a great thing to be feminine. I think it's a beautiful thing. Some things should be celebrated. And femininity is not a one size fits all. Not everybody is going to grow flowers. Not everybody is interested in plants. Not everybody's interested in crochet. Not everybody's interested in being a mom. Femininity comes in all different sizes. It's not a one size fits all. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, because masculinity is most certainly very, like, you can tell, oh, that guy is very masculine. He's very strong, physically, literally strong. You look at a man and you're like, yes, that man, he's a man. I can tell, because he can lift heavy things. Whereas like feminine, like, there's so many different variations of it. It's so cool. Like, why are we not celebrating that? Something that I've noticed is I feel as though the modern female lead character is actually a man with a wig. And that's how I feel about that. I don't know. Let me know how you feel in the comments. I do want to have this conversation. I do want to start this. I feel as though I'm saying a lot, but I really want to know, like, the other side. If you have an argument for the other side, I want to know. Or if you do agree with me, like, I also want to know that. Like, am I the only one who's feeling this way? Am I the only one that's noticing these things? The only one that's like, hey, how come this is like the only thing women are good for? They're only good to best men. Like, I don't understand why we have to tear men down. Why is it that for a woman to be celebrated, men have to be beneath us? It just feels very strange in my head. It doesn't make sense in my head. I don't know if somebody else can explain it better. I just feel as though the main characters that are being written, that are female, that are being written, I just feel like you could be strong and not have masculine traits. You could be you could have a high moral compass. Women tend to be more moral than men. Women tend to be more compassionate than men. Women tend to be more empathetic than men. So why aren't those qualities being celebrated? Why aren't they being rejoiced? Why aren't we like putting that more in our stories? Like, why aren't we reading that in stories? Why aren't we seeing that in stories? Why is that not being pushed on BookTube and booktok and Bookstagram and all the other book stuff? Like, why aren't we pushing that? Why aren't we pushing the femininity of feminine characters? And another thing is that I've been noticing is, why are so many of our male characters one-dimensional? Why are they only like, they're literally just there to support the female? I don't understand. Like, are they not able to do anything else? If they do something, does that take away from the female? If they help in any capacity, does that mean that the female is less? Have we decided as a society, that women have to do everything by themselves? Because that feels like a man came up with that so he didn't have to do any work. I'm going to be honest with you. That kind of feels like a man was like, I want to do as little as possible. So I'm going to tell her that if I help, I'm actually hurting her by taking away her ability to do it by herself. That sounds exhausting. Okay? And I'm not just saying because I've hit that week in pregnancy where I'm always exhausted, that week in pregnancy where you take your vitamins and you're ready for a nap because that was a lot of energy that you've exerted, but it just doesn't feel good to hear about this male character who is super strong and super fast and so good at, athleticism or whatever. And then the female main character does the whole thing. What are you talking about? She had to do the whole thing. Where were you? Why were you just sitting on the sideline? What's wrong with these men? Why are they so one-dimensional? Why are they only good to be bested? Why are they so weak in the literature? I don't understand that. Like, what happened? What happened in literature that male characters are no longer male? Like, they're just, it's almost like the roles got reversed, Like, we were pushing down females so much that now we've like flip-flopped, and now we have to push down males a lot, and maybe the pendulum will swing again. But I'm just wondering, like, when do we have strong male and strong female and not physically strong? Like, Just have them be more than one dimensional, have them be three-dimensional, have them have deeper conflicts, and have the villain be a villain. I don't want to understand why he did something wrong. At the end of the day, he did something wrong. Like, let that be the thing. I have another question that I want to ask, and it's about social influence. It's about BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube. It's about what I do as somebody who creates videos and talks about books. I'm wondering if this has been kind of a problem where we are propping up books or tearing down books and influencing others on what to read and what not to read. And there's only so many books a person can read, right? And books are going to go viral. Okay. Just go on BookTube right now or BookTok right now, and you'll see the same book is being propped up constantly. And so our books, when somebody writes a book, are they writing a book to write a well-written story, or are they writing a book that can go viral? Because I do feel as though there's a lot of social propaganda that is being put in books because it has a high chance of going viral. We don't have representation for disabled people. We have a checklist. We need somebody who is neurodivergent. Okay, let's make it that person. Like, it doesn't add to the story. It doesn't bring light to anything. It doesn't show like a cool perspective. It's just there. It's just there. We have our LGBT representative over here. We have our non-binary representative over here. We have our disabled person over here. We have, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I think one of the greatest books, I don't want to bring up books. Never mind. I'm not going to say what the name is, but there was a book that was written a while ago, because I'm trying to give you kind of vague senses of these stories. I don't want to tell you the story because I want you to be able to understand that it's not that book. It's the bigger picture. Am I trying to, I don't know if that's being explained well enough, but I'm trying to make it so that you guys are understanding that I'm not talking about very specific books. I'm talking about a general problem. And if I bring up a specific book, I fear that we'll get stuck on that book of an example to give the example of the bigger generalized question that I do have. So there is a book, very popular back in the day. I read it when I think I was in high school when I read it. And there is a disability that is portrayed. You see lots of books with disabilities as the main character. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, the main character has a disability. You see a lot of books like that. I'm sure you can name an author right at the top of your head. Anyways, the disability played a purpose, played a role in the story. And it was so well done that it just showed you that disabled people are not one-dimensional, that there's so much more that they can add to a story, and they can have heartbreak, and they can have happiness and joy and all of these beautiful things, same as anybody else. But then you read books today and they're just, oh yes, I have a quirky disability where I just can't keep things straight. But it's just all fun and games. Like, I don't show you any of the bad parts of the disability, because disability is just really fun and entertaining. And I have ADHD, or I am neurodivergent, or I have a slight bit of the autism. Like, you're not showing anything of the struggles. You're just showing the superpower. Like, a disability has to be a superpower. And for those of us who have a disability, it's not always a superpower. Sometimes it's really hard to live with that. Sometimes it's really difficult to face your day with a disability. It's not always easy. The world does not always fit perfectly around your disability. There's many instances, real world instances, where disabilities are disabling. I don't understand why we just have this checklist and we don't actually inform the reader of the whole disability. We just inform them of the basic Google search. So if you have only done a Google search, or even worse, you've only done a TikTok diagnosis, and you have nothing to add to that, please don't use that disability. Like, just don't use it. I don't think that we are utilizing what it means to have different voices in a novel. I don't think you understand, or not you, like personally, the person watching this. I'm saying, I don't think writers, publishers, editors, I don't think the understanding of what it actually means to be different and not be different based on skin color or sexual preference or political ideologies. Like, I think being different goes a lot deeper than that. Like, some people love rain, some people love sun, some people love spring, some people love winter. That's different. People find beauty in certain areas that they are very fond of. That's very different. And if your life is also reflective of that, like, oh, well, I'm in a wheelchair, and so I'm not actually in a wheelchair, but just pretend there's a character who's in a wheelchair, okay? Character's in a wheelchair, and their perspective of not being able to run, like, it doesn't even bother them because they're like, well, what do I care if I can't run? I have wheels. Like, I have horsepower. You have your legs. Yeah. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe the person in the wheelchair actually is faster because they're in a wheelchair. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, push them downhill and then run after them. See which one's faster. Why is that? Like, I don't know. I guess we just have to have sickly people, or we have to have quirky people, but we can't have an amalgamation of good days and bad days. Like, a disability is not one. I think that's my problem, is that everything is just so one dimensional. Every character is one dimensional. Every trope is one dimensional. Every plot line is one dimensional. And maybe I'm just kind of sick and tired of that. I'm not sure. I feel like the writing quality has gone down. I'm seeing often that this happened with the book that I just read. The author tells you something or like has the character show you something, and then the author explains the deeper meaning of that, where it's like, oh, look, there's a red rose. Now, just so you know, red roses are romantic, and it means that person has a romantic interest. Like, I can't just let you figure that out on your own. I have to spell it out for you. And it's just, I don't know, it's so frustrating. It's so annoying. It almost feels like they're calling the readers stupid. And is that because we read a lot? Is that, like, have we done this to ourselves? Are we reading too many books that now we can't keep things straight in our heads, so we just need to be told? Like, is this cheap trash novels? Like, I'm so confused. And I think, honestly, beach reads have their place. Sometimes you go to an airport, you pick up a book that you can finish in, like, your whole flight. And yeah, I don't see anything wrong with certain novels. I don't see anything wrong with any of the novels. But when it's every novel, I have issues with that. I have issues with every romance being the same. And okay, I think maybe I also need to say that I understand that when you have a story, you have a setup, you have a conflict, you have an idea of how to resolve the conflict, you have the climax, and then you have the runoff of the climax, and then you have an ending. And sometimes you have an epilogue. And I understand that is your basic premise of a story. It goes on that little curve thing, and it goes up, and then you get to the very, and then, you know, quickly dies down to the end and the epilogue. I'm not asking for, like, this. I'm not even asking for it to go backwards or anything. I'm not asking for a straight line. I'm not asking for it to always be up here. What I am saying, though, is that I don't understand why, when we go from here to here, if I insert different characters, it's the same book. It's the same. Is that this book? Yeah. Okay. Great. You know, there's a lot of people on like you see on reels and stuff like that, and they're like, you know, that one book with the main character is a woman or a girl. She's a teenage girl, and she meets a guy, and then she meets another guy, and so there's a love triangle, and she's fighting between the two people, and she doesn't know which one to go with, and one is pretty toxic, the other one's not that great either. It seems like there's a clear picture of who she's going to choose, but then the author throws in a random side quest story of her getting really close to the other guy and kind of throws you for a loop. And then the patriarchy comes and the government sucks, and then she has to fight the government in order to prove her love. Like, that's so many books, and people do those all the time. Like, I see them all the time, and they're like, "Did you mean this book?" and then he's like, "No, I was talking about," and like he shows like all the books that could have been about. I just feel as though we shouldn't be able to do that. I think we need to stop being able to do that. That's what I think. We need to not be doing that. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe the quality of writing. I don't know what happened. I knew that we in America have a low reading age level. We have a low oh my gosh, maybe I can't read, who knows. Anyways, and so I understand that I think the average American reads at an 8th grade level. That could be a stat that I'm wrong in. I'll have to look it up, but I know that most Americans do not read at the grade level that they should be reading at. And that's a huge problem. That is like a huge problem. But does that mean we just write at an 8th grade level for every single person? Because it feels as though a lot of the adult books are actually YA books, but have adult content in them. And I don't want to read a YA book with adult content. I want to read an adult book with adult content, and I want to be treated as an adult. I don't want to be treated as a child. I don't want to be treated as an 8th grader. I don't want to be treated as a 13-year-old girl who doesn't understand what a red rose signifies or a yellow rose signifies. I don't want to be somebody who doesn't understand that, it's like there's been so many things. If you watch movies and then people break down the movie afterwards and they're like going really deep into it, I love those. I love those movie commentaries where they're like, oh my gosh, it's so interesting how when you have this one character and their mood kind of shifts with the weather, and it's very interesting how, like, if you notice every time this gets brought up, this color is appearing. Very interesting. Like, I love that. Why can't we do that with books? Why do we have to spell it out? I don't understand. I don't want it to be spelled out. I want to be able to read a book and pick up some things along the way and be like, oh my gosh, that was incredible. There were so many small things that foreshadowed into this, and that's so cool. I miss those books. I miss them. I feel like a lot of them are now a classic, you know? Like, a lot of them are just considered a classic. And I guess they're a classic for a reason, because they had really great stories being told. And there's classics that I've read like a second time, and I was like, I didn't even notice. Oh my gosh, the symbolism. It's so cool. There is no more symbolism that I've seen. I don't want to say that. I've seen some symbolism. I just feel like I haven't seen that much. I've been filming for about 40 minutes now, so I'm just going to close up. But I do have some other questions for you guys. Please answer these. Answer all of them. Please help me. Help me to understand this. Did literature die? Is that what's happened? Did literature die? Did we kill literature as readers? Because we consumed these books. Like, we've purchased these books, and publishers are going to publish what's going to sell. And if that's the case, if publishers are going to publish what's going to sell, and we are buying these crappy books and not being satisfied, how do we change the publishers? How do we support authors that we can see are producing high quality novels? How do we support them? How do we tell the publishers, hey, more of this, less of this? How do we tell publishers when we're happy, when we're not happy? Like, what? Because we used to just, back in the day, you read the book You went to the store, you read the book, and you told your friends. And it was through word of mouth that this book was getting sold. Now we have social media, and you can reach so many people around the whole world. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty amazing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't want to say that social media is inherently evil. I don't think it's inherently evil. I think it gets used for evil, but that's with anything. You can use anything for the wrong cause. Anything can be corrupted. I just feel as though, who is to blame and how do we fix this? Because we have a lot of books that are being published that are not amazing, that are not awesome, that are boring, that are the same book that we've already read. And I just want to know, how do we get something else? How do we convince somebody to write a story that highlights the wonders of feminism as well as the wonders of masculinism? How do we find somebody that is going to make it so that we don't have to put each other down in order to build somebody else up? Who's going to write the story, and then who's going to publish it? I want to know which is it? Which publisher is going to be the one? Does it have to be an indie book? Can we only get deep stories through indie authors? Can we not do it mass produced? I'd love to know. Anyways, if you have any of your own questions, I would also please leave those down below. Leave those comments down. I think I've asked a lot of questions in this and said a lot of things, and I don't know if any of it made sense, and I don't know if anybody agrees with anything that I said, but I said what I said, and it's now on the internet. Well, I guess technically not yet because I'm still filming this, but if you're seeing this, then it's on the internet. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know what the next video is going to be. I don't think it's going to be like this, though. No, I probably will. Just kidding. All right. I'll see you next time.